of a Phantom Lancer game to start with, so not that much of his fault. And he's not really like a super experienced player, so has a lot of things to learn.
Yeah, but especially, if you're, like, just to go back to the Phantom Lancer game, if you're in a winning condition, and really the only winning condition, because you have a bad rider middle, another initiator off lane, you're the only one that deals damage, and you need to recognize that, Like, if there was a Matumba man there, he would definitely itemize for damage items, because that's the only way you win the game, If you itemize for tank items, maybe you don't die, your entire team will die, though, and then you can't do anything by yourself. And that's just, as you said, the lack of experience. He has
specifically Hyde and Zephyr, the two POS 4s. I feel like Hyde did a lot of work in that last series as well, and Zephyr is often kind of the deciding factor in the laning phase for T1, and they have some very interesting stats head-to-head against each other as well, really showing the difference between these two players. Kill participation, Zephyr is a little bit higher up on the kill participation. Meanwhile, in tower damage, Hyde's had some games where he's been hitting some buildings, picking some heroes which can do that as well. And just generally, like, very different playstyles between the two, yet both kind of forming a similar role within their team, I believe.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest difference I actually see is how active Hyde is with placing wards, which is something a lot of POS 4s I feel don't do enough. They have like these Nyx assassins and in general just more mobility kind of heroes. So getting in deeper wards and getting out quickly is much easier for you. And you can see like Yapzor, doing a very good job of that in Team Secret, for example. And really, it's just like a thing a good POS 4 needs to have, I believe. And so Zephyr is a little bit lacking there, but Hyde is definitely a good backbone of the team.
I feel like some of the position 4s forgot that they are still a support. You still need to buy sentries from time to time. Depends like how your position 5 is doing. If he needs to get an item for himself to keep himself alive in the team fights. You need to buy some observer wards placed because your position 5, especially if he is not very mobile hero, if you're not smoking up to plant those wards, position 4 needs to help out.
Yeah, everybody wants to be this
greedy,
third and a half core or whatever. I'm gonna have my blink deck. I'm in a 10 and then itemize into a BKB.
But I think it's kind of the top teams which set that precedent. Looking at, it feels silly to come back to EU when we're talking about SEA, but some of the biggest POS 4s like Yapzor can be very greedy in some games, and then of course in China we've got Baboko who's showing off right now, again known for being pretty greedy. These guys kind of set the trend for a lot of these other position 4 players and give them something to look up to and give them something to play towards, when sometimes you do want that POS 4 that can play more for the team. But we do have a draft.
And if other teams are successful with having a really greedy position 4 that are considered the top teams, other teams will start to copy it, which is not necessarily a good thing for them, because like you need to have your own playstyle. You might take some advices, you might take some notes from the other teams, but you still need to play the game with your own team, use strengths of your players to your advantage.
Yeah, every POS 5 is very different. You have people like Fly who don't care at all about just buying everything, placing everything in good positions because they're very good at it.
Yeah.
Then you have other people like Puppy who are more like a little
still want to have fun.
POS 5, yeah. I mean, you can see like they're always all rich. I don't even know how they do it. They find way too much gold. But like every support player is different, every core player is different, Just make good use of each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. Important lessons taught to us by our panel. But we do, of course, have this draft underway, and there's some interesting things to talk about already. The thing I noticed is that Boom Esports actually banning out the Monkey King, which T1 did pick in every single game, all 3 of them versus 496. And T1 actually choosing to open with the Disruptor. Interesting hero, but they seem to be pretty keen on it.
Yeah, Disruptor is, I would say, one of the greedier POS 5s. He needs his level 6 before he can really become effective.
Cuckoo's like, I'm done. I don't like this Disruptor first
leaving.
phase. I'm not just kidding, guys. I'm coming back.
Yeah. Nice troll. They're all like, you got me there.
Got you. Prank, bro.
Great joke, friend. But yeah, they did pick this in the 3rd game versus 496, the Disruptor. I think it was first phase then as well.
And did a lot of work.
Did.
But Pango is really good against Disruptor, right? On paper?
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to throw, especially if that's a position 4 Pango that we see quite a lot. Like one of my notes is like Pango 4. Just this region really enjoys
They love
playing
it,
it, and I feel there's a ton of potential. Like the item build, pretty much always the one that I like the most. Is just having that orb of corrosion. Blink dagger on position 4 feels really good, and if you get more farm like Basher, so you can scale and still be able to control the team fights. New Shard also feels really good on Pango.
Yeah.
There's a lot to play with, a lot of options which we like to see in POS 4 heroes. If they can play the game in different ways in whatever suits their team, that often ends up being a very valuable early pickup. What do you guys think about this CM and then this Wraith King? Again, it's quite an unconventional pick with the CM, not a super popular hero in the region, and Wraith King, he's had his popularity. I think week 1 we saw a lot of him, faded a little bit now, but T1's still looking to go down that road.
I mean, Wraith King is just one of the most independent laners right now, which makes a lot of sense if you have a hero like Disruptor, who we said is like a more greedy support. He's not the best lane support, not the worst, but just like a middle of the pack. So something like a Wraith King, when you don't really see the offlane matchup, makes a lot of sense just to make up for that greed. And CM is just honestly, very generic support. Like, you can gank, you can lane support, you do a little bit of everything. It's just a very good hero to have overall.
If I had to compare Disruptor to CM, like CM just brings so much more to the lane, but Disruptor more
to the team
fight for sure.
Yeah.
That ulti can be game-winning as well from Disruptor. I think he's got one of the sleeper ultis, I'd almost say. Sometimes that ulti comes out, just catches you off guard, and it's just, kills off spirits very easily.
Yeah.
If they can get caught out without a BKB, or later on in the game, even with a BKB, doesn't matter. If they get nags, it's over.
Like, there's some top-tier heroes right now that are completely ignored. Nyx Assassin, Keeper of the Light. These heroes are highly contested across all other regions.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of Coddle. Well, we've had a couple of the teams. I mean, Neon, notably, have been playing a ton of Coddle and have been owning with it. Does really make you kind of wonder why the other teams aren't putting more stock into it. Why do you think that is?
I mean, it can just be like a playstyle thing, because Coddle does require a team to have a certain playstyle. It's not the same hero as before anymore, where it's just like a team fighter. It's more of a you split the map and you punish mistakes kind of hero, which not a lot of teams can do right now in this region. It's very chaotic. And if you just make 1 or 2 mistakes with Coddle, it can fall off very hard.
Can indeed.
And
Next pick up from T1's going to be the Nyx Assassin, but Lacoste, did you notice anything different in the banning phase, or is it all plain sailing through the second banning
Night
phase?
Stalker's standing out to me. Like, usually you ban that hero when you have something like Oracle, something that does not want to get jumped in your backline. So far, they don't have that hero, so a bit surprised. We've seen some Night Stalkers at the start of the Southeast Asia region being played on a mid lane a couple of times, so that's also a possibility. So, just some inside info does these teams have when they scrim against each other.
Yeah.
It's also a really good counter to what they had. For example, when they put the Night Stalker middle, there was like a puck shown already, which is a really hard counter. This game against Wraith King is very, you don't really care so much about it. But I really like this Beastmaster response to Nyx Assassin. One of the best heroes in the game against Nyx. You just have those random Necros that can spot him. If you ever raw him, he's dead. Of course, Nyx can't defend towers. Honestly, none of these 3 heroes can defend towers so far. So Beastmaster will be able to set a really good tempo, lanes well into the Wraith King. Makes a lot of sense with the Pango. The extra attack speed leads to more disarms.
I was about to call that.
This is something they played on a mid lane against the Riki in one of their series. I believe it was 496.
That game, though.
That game was rough. Like they just completely stomped them. So it's a possibility that it's a mid laner. So what does Boob need? Like, what's a good laner? Black, you play Underlord quite a lot on a mid lane. What's something that you don't like to play into?
Underlord hates like tank breakers like Timbersaw, Ursa. I mean, there's a lot of heroes that are already banned. Like the strongest hero against Underlord is OD. That one's already banned. Honestly, Underlord middle doesn't have a lot of bad matchups. Like, he has a lot of base damage. He reduces the enemy's base damage.
Like, the Firestorm pretty much covers the whole mid area.
The whole mid area, yeah. So against all the melee spirits, you're more likely they're not gonna dominate them.
They could pick Ursa, possibly. Like, not necessarily. It could still be an offlane Underlord, but just feels like
Option's
a
good for Ursa, right?
Good matchup, like against the Raid King, against the Underlord. Glimpse is a bit of a issue for him, but other than that, looks good.
Yeah. Troll.
They go with the troll instead. All right, well, similar idea, but kind of more in another direction. And a hero which we know that Drew wants to play.
What's a good hero in offlane against Troll, though? I mean, Underlord can lane there. He's all right. Not the best, not the worst.
If it's like Nyx 4 and Underlord 4 into Troll plus CM, that's quite suicidal in
rough.
my opinion. Like they cannot lane there. It's too much pressure, too much slow.
Yeah.
Underlord, very sluggish hero, so maybe they need to put it on a mid lane. Let's see how Boom reads this whole situation.
But what could they pick for offlane then? The Troll CM is an amazing lane. Like almost nothing beats
So
that.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a combo that carries on through the entire game as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I don't think even if you like flex Disruptor to position 4, like Disruptor Underlord, it's still not as good as nowhere as good as Crystal Maiden plus Troll.
And then your safe lane is going to suffer badly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. T1 looking to be in a troublesome spot here with a draft, to be honest. Like they will have to make a lot of weaknesses up with the last pick.
The hero that we always mention when there is Boom playing with Coda with his Storm Spirit,
Looks terrible this game.
it looks really rough. You know, just into Underlord, into Nyx,
Bit of a bait,
Disruptor.
yeah.
I do think TA, though, could be very good.
Does she survive mid versus Underlord? Or what do you mean for T1?
Oh no, TA for Boom.
For Boom?
Yeah, it deals very well with Nyx, blows up Disruptor, and Underlord is not the best hero against TA. In the laning phase, at least.
I'd be a little worried. I don't know. Do you not think that the Wraith King does well with TA as well? Being able, he doesn't care about being bursted. He's got skeletons to get through her refraction. Is that not an
but
issue?
TA is a hero that can really ramp up the tempo, which is very good with Beastmaster. You have a lot of vision control.
Right.
And
right.
you could just, overwhelm this Wraith King before he gets online.
I see.
But it really will just depend on the last pick of T1. Wait, who has the last pick in this draft? It's T1, right?
T1, yes.
Yeah.
So they won't be able to see the last tier. And TA is very risky then. Probably not something they'll do.
They banned the Storm, which I think is a correct choice here. They have no
One
real
roar.
lockdown, one roar,
One bite.
bite,
Yeah.
some RNG from Troll, but that's really not reliable.
Tough to deal with for sure. Like Mikoto, what else does he play? I mean, he plays a lot of heroes. It's just what's good. Like something like a DK is terrible. Some Spirit. Like even Ember Spirit seems terrible. Underlord owns him, Nyx owns him, Disruptor is good against it.
Let's have a look. He played Viper at mid in their first game against 496.
That could actually be quite good.
Looks good, yeah. And break Underlord, break Raid King. A bit limited on how they can execute ganks. If it's a Viper mid, he also is not very maneuverable hero. So like Beastmaster needs to be active. Pangolier 4 needs to have a good game.
Razor.
Ooh.
I love that. I like Razor.
Yeah?
And they
I
banned
think-
out the Quap also. And Puck is banned out too. There's not a lot of heroes that lane well against Razor.
You know what's gonna be?
SF.
It starts with L. Lena.
You think Lena?
Yeah.
It's possible, but I mean, I would love to see. I like SF here, I think.
Does SF do well into Razor?
Yeah, very well. Because he doesn't care about right click damage. You just raise him all the
Yeah.
time. And-
Raise the Razor. How
But
ironic.
there's still a Raw, though, so that's a bit spooky. And this Razor pick is really good because they banned out all the hard counters.
Yeah, they really telegraphed this Razor pick well.
Yeah.
And they have Troll, something that we see Razor against.
DP.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Alrighty. Yeah, she's got Crypt Swarm, she's got Spirit Siphon, you suck me, I suck you. I mean,
Yeah, we know what you mean.
guys, cover for me. This is when you jump in and give me some analysis to...
Yeah, we're thinking. We're
Okay,
thinking hard. Because
okay.
the drafts, actually, I feel are very even. They both have really good power spikes. Okay,
predictions,
Lacoste.
guys. Gonna have to put some pressure on you
Go
here.
first, Black. I need like 20 seconds.
Dude,
to
I
think.
need some time too.
All right, I'll go first. I'll go first. Dude, I'm saying boom. I'm saying boom. I like this troll. We know Drew can play it well. This Razor's going to back him up. He's going to be a supporting act, and I think that Boom can take this first game. And I think T1 are going to struggle a bit.
This Razor is a little bit scary for me because Exorcism and Ravekin can really destroy him, and he might just fall off. And it's tough. The cost saved me, bro.
I'll go with Boom. Dead Prophet
My man.
is, a pick that could make a lot of trouble. Underlord DP Raid King sounds like a really strong trio of the heroes, I still feel like Underlord won't get so much from the laning stage, and yeah, I want to see more of a Razor. I think it's a kind of a sleeper hero. So
All right,
boom.
Black. Time to decide, buddy. We
Okay.
gotta get to our casters. So.
All right, I'll be going with T1 then.
All right, I like that. Stir the pot a bit. T1 for Black. Let's bring in our casters for this game number 1 of Boom Esports versus T1 is, of course, BCup and Lizard. Lizard, firstly, very quickly, what say you about this draft?
Don't you have some prediction to make?
I've got a prediction ready to go. If you want me to go first, I was told of the folklore that is Turkish coffee. Just like the tea leaves, you can read into the future. I've got my Turkish coffee, my grinds ready to go. And they say when you finish a cup of Turkish coffee, you can see into it. And what I'm seeing right now is a T1 victory.
Alrighty, and Lizard, please, quickly.
Look,
The game is starting.
Turkish coffee is drank quite a lot in Bosnia as well, and I can't go against it. I'll go with
Okay.
T1 too.
I thought you were about to go on a really long tangent, but that's 3 for T1, 2 for Boom. We're into the game. Take it away, BCup and Lizard, for this match.
Thank you, Nomad. Yeah, here for a pretty important matchup. It maybe at the beginning when you saw the schedule didn't look like it would be an important one if T1 were able to pull away in the table, or if Boom were lower, where many people thought that might be for them considering how difficult this region is. But now these two teams, they sit in the middle of the pack, and it's starting to get to that point in the season, and I know it's like just about the end of week 3, but it's starting to get to that point in the season where it almost feels like the way the beginning has gone, every matchup's becoming important.
Yeah, most importantly in SCA, because we see so many upsets. You don't even know what's happening anymore in the league. Anyone can beat anyone.
Yeah.
2 days ago, if you asked me who's going to take this match, I would tell you T1 with 70-80% certainty, right? Right now, after seeing yesterday, after seeing Boom perform versus Fnatic, it's way closer.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for me, in terms of the reason, other than seeing what the grinds had told me to pick, but I worry about Drew. He's been very inconsistent with his performances. Razor is one of those heroes I think that can make Makoto kind of shine again, which is where we've seen Boom be their strongest. But I'm worried about Drew at times.
Yeah, I'm worried for many things here. For Cuckoo too, might be worried because this lane, I think the panel called it too, is very difficult for him. These two heroes dish out a lot of damage, many slows coming from the Crystal Maiden and the Troll. That's why he's forced to use the TP already.
In a lineup like this, though, for T1, does it matter if the Underlord is just getting experience and not really finding that farm?
I think Underlord is a kind of a hero that can really dominate the lane, farm a lot, push in, then pull that side camp, right? It can mean a lot for your lineup if he is tanky enough and not the one that just falls immediately as he goes in front. So think of Underlord like of Timbersaw, let's say. You want to have this hero be a beast in the game.
We see Timbersaws when they struggle in lane, they're unable to get anything done throughout the game, where it just feels like they're a big body, but nothing more than that. They're trying to frontline, they're not really accomplishing much, so we'll see if it really falls into the same line here for the Underlord of Cuckoo.
Yeah, so far looking at the lanes, what we've got mid lane, Razor is stomping Carl, by the way. Mikoto is just dominating. He has 7-3 versus 3-3 of Carl.
Is this where the matchup should be at the moment between Death Prophet and Razor?
I don't see Razor a lot mid lane. That's one of the issues, right? Like we've seen one Razor pick in the league completely. And yeah, Carl had that one lane pushing in, one wave, so I exaggerated it a little bit. He did bounce back after getting all the last hits.
Yeah, but he's got to maintain it, so we'll see if he's able to do so. Getting a little bit of lag here, but yeah.
Where I'm really interested in is also this top lane, because there's just so much kill potential on both sides. On one side you have Glimpse, you have Stun, you have Skellies. On the other you have, let's say, level 3 Boar, which can be extremely annoying.
This lineup from Boom does have like that potential to pop off and just push you where you don't really have many opportunities all over the map.
Yeah, one problem.
Whitemon, he's going to get chased by Hyde and looking like he might be first blood, just has that glimpse. However, Hyde swashbuckle on cooldown. So.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, not Bristle. Beastmaster gets that level 3, he has the level 2 boar, and suddenly you can just fall victim to the amount of slows that they have. Hyde obviously starting with the Orb of Venom.
Ooh, problems now for Zephyr. He's slowed up by the Crystal Maiden. They need one more shot and they'll find it. KezQ with the first blood, and boom. Like we said, this lane would be difficult bottom for T1, and they're showing why.
Yeah, look at Underlord too. Like, he has 4 CS, and the lane is pushing in. Against him, that is. You see, like, he has 2 range creeps. He's barely getting anything out of this lane. But that's the problem, right? Like, Nyx Assassin, laning stage was never his strongest suit. Plus, you're playing versus Crystal Maiden and Troll. It's difficult.
Stun onto the Razor. Mid Makoto putting some pressure continually onto the Death Prophet. The one thing going right for T1 right now is the CS from Jackie. We'll see if that continues, but
yeah, he's
on him
itemizing.
again. Cuckoo just getting chased here, slowed up, trying to run.
He's just dead here.
And throws down the Pit of Malice, but like you said, he's already dead on his screen.
He's just gone. You don't escape these 2 heroes. I've played versus this lane. It can go south real fast.
Yeah.
One thing as well, itemization from Jackie is allowing him to be on top of the network charts right now. What did he do that's so special? He went for chainmail. It's not extremely special, you see it now very often, but this chainmail first allows you to actually sustain yourself and take all these boar hits.
So with that 4 extra armor, Triff's trying to posture as much as he can. Maybe take out some of these boars. He's got some skeleton health with Whitemon. Thrown over a Thunder Strike. Stun over on Hyde. He already used Swashbuckle, so that's on cooldown for 14 more seconds. They've got the glimpse back into the hands of the Wraith King. Body blocks from Whitemon are on it. So Jackie gets a kill, and that'll certainly help bolster his stance in this lane.
Yeah, he's getting a lot. So is Beastmaster. Beastmaster very close to that Necro 1 of his. Needs 1 lasted pretty much. But it's also important that Jackie is doing fine, because this Underlord, it's questionable how much he will be able to accomplish in the mid game. So at least your safe lane is doing well, and mid lane as well. That Prophet is keeping up with the Razor.
Yeah, Underlord is bottom 4 on the net worth, looking really bad. He's actually bottom 3. He's right behind that Nyx Assassin on his own team, so he's really getting nothing out of this lane.
When Nyx Assassin pulled 1 wave back, he got more out of this bottom lane than Underlord has managed to do in the first 6 minutes. So
it's pretty difficult here for Cuckoo. Exorcism going mid. Makoto in trouble. But Cuckoo, or Carl, sorry, gets turned on Makoto. Whitemon gets the trade, and tough. Makoto's damage was pumping in.
yeah, that's just Makoto. He understands the heroes that he plays extremely well. And yeah, it's just a pleasure to watch. My only issue in this game is he's not on anything flashy. Like, he's playing this very stable standard Razor, and he won't be able to make as many crazy moves in the mid game, even if you give him a good lane. But he's making one right now. He's on the top lane.
So let's see what Makoto does. Again, I talked about how a lot of success for Boom has come from Makoto. They've slowed up Jackie. He's on the run. He's not even level 6 yet. Taking that damage away. Kinetic Field will keep the side of Boom from continuing on to this Wraith King.
But this is a tier 1. Why did they rotate? Because they know that Prophet does not have ulti anymore. He popped it earlier, Carl, right? And because of that, he won't be able to take down mid tier 1. Meanwhile, Karti is up on top lane, and you can obviously take it so fast with Necros.
Yeah, they took this tower really quickly. They pushed the Wraith King away so he can't defend it at all. And Whitemon, as well as Carl, were trying to push in the mid-tier 1, but like you said, they don't have Exorcism. The damage really isn't much. It's 200, 300.
Yeah, and it's literally 1 KezQ on his Crystal Maiden rotating in and defending it. Also not farming the wave, but giving it to Razor instead. They're making everything for this Razor.
Royal Jelly for the Radiant side. He'll eat one himself and, of course, give the other to the 1 position. Troll's already got this Perseverance. He had the wand queued up, but We'll see if he even commits to it. He saved up 1,100 gold. He looks like he's just going to go straight for the Battle Fury.
Yeah, I like this a lot because he realizes, man, my lane is free.
Yeah.
I don't have to itemize it. Like if you compare the Wraith King and the Troll, like Wraith King, he had to itemize in that chainmail into phase boots because if he doesn't, he can't lane at all. Troll, meanwhile, on the other hand, yeah, he's just a happy little camper standing there on bot and just farming away.
And he's getting so much so far. He's top of the net worth, and that's only going to get into a bigger spread once he gets this Battle Fury. Remember, already up 2k.
Remember that Drew also had a really good Troll performance already.
Yeah.
So we weren't on the panel overall satisfied by some of his performances, but in the last series, his Troll was on point.
Yeah, it was like the first time we saw Drew really be who he thought who he could be. And he's doing it again here. I'm really impressed with what he's accomplished so far.
Really?
Obviously, the lane is really easy, but at the same time, you still have to take advantage of that.
Yeah, really good rotations overall. Oh, Glimpse.
Glimpse, as well as the stun onto the Crystal Maiden of Kezcute.
Yeah.
They'll have the damage, they'll get the kill under the Firestorm Cuckoo. If he gets something done, gets a soaring out of it, still sitting though bottom 5 on the net worth. Really struggling, and if you compare him to the Beastmaster, he's 1,000 gold behind.
Yeah, and the Beastmaster's lead is just going to ramp up even further, and he's going for... He has Necro 2, he's going to have Necro 3 soon in a couple of minutes, and it makes Wraith King's life much harder, right? Because you always have to keep in mind that you need that magic wand to get the mana back. You are playing versus Necros.
Jackie just casually queuing up a Divine Rapier. Okay.
That's the relic, I guess he's going for Radiance, right? So...
Until he does it.
Until he doesn't,
the first item, Divine Rapier.
Well, okay, you know, never say never. It can happen.
I'm a fan of Chaos. I would enjoy it. Just the first item, Divine Rapier.
Yeah, probably won't happen, but yeah. Also, very interesting on the Wraith King that he went for gloves, but he's not going for Midas right now. It's kind of late for him to get the Midas as well. He still might. He might get it, but as long as he doesn't get Rapier, I'm happy. Let's put it that way.
Buys the 2 items and just doesn't combine them.
A few years ago, there was this super popular Russian streamer for the Russian audience. You probably haven't heard of him, Evil Artist. He would go for Refresher and Rapier. That was his build, and he would own.
Zephyr almost going down, thinking about using the Rolling Thunder. They do have the Vendetta available. That's the way that Zephyr gets away on this one. Static Storm mid and another kill on a Kezcute. Carl gets credit for that. They're killing off this Crystal Maiden, but at the same time, you're really not getting much else.
No, you're fine with that. If you're Boom, you just have to think about your Troll right now. He has that Battle Fury completed, and you see his farming pattern. Oh, Whitemon, it might be a glimpse. And the TP. Yeah. Okay.
Never in doubt.
So Whitemon, what he was trying to do is just set up wards in the triangle, because in that triangle Troll will be. And you want to smoke up, maybe with Vendetta, maybe with that Silence, Disruptor ulti, and kill it. Unfortunately for him, they spotted him, and they won't have that vision advantage.
And Drew, he's got that Battle Fury, very quick Battle Fury. They've smoked up on Boom. They'll be heading towards bottom, potentially over onto Jackie, who, again, he does have this reincarnation. He's farming pretty quickly. He's not keeping up with the Troll, but again, we'll see what his item choices end up being.
Still has that Rapier in quick buy.
Mid lane, Cuckoo gets hit with the Primal Roar. Looking to go in with the Rolling Thunder, Hyde feinting it a couple times, but never commits to it.
Yeah, better off, because that Prophet's ulti just came off cooldown, and they would definitely be able to defend the Underlord.
It'd be tough. You do have that Necro 3.
Yeah, you still have some things to work with, that's definitely true. The problem is Pit of Malice level 3, Firestorm level 4. It's a lot of damage.
Swashbuckle in, disarm, silence again.
Now Glimpse. Oh, he can't. Very well played by the Beastmaster, FBZ. He purged Whitemon and also slowed him with the board, so he couldn't get in range for that Glimpse. Glimpse was also level 2, he only got level 7.
And so now it's level 3, but again, even committing to that Glimpse, you saw the amount of damage he was taking. I think if he commits to that Glimpse, he's dead.
He's dead, but also Pango dies, so it's kind of
It's a trade that you might be willing to make.
Yeah, it's a decent trade. 5 for a 4. You don't mind that. Plus, you prevent them from taking the tier 1. One of the good things from T1 right now is the levels that Underlord has. They allow him to defend versus the Necros. And if you're the Beastmaster right now, you are applying pressure, and that's nice. But maybe you should be playing around the top lane. Maybe you should be just pressuring in this tier 2, because it allows the troll also to farm the triangle. And you are messing up with Underlord's game plan, which is literally just be a wall between towers and all the minions, all the creeps.
He's certainly big enough to be a wall. We'll see if he can continue to stay stable. Don't want those bricks knocked out, then the foundation's corrupted. Smoke up from T1. Whitemon Carl as well as Zephyr maybe looking to make a play happen. They do have Vendetta off cooldown. They can go into that and look for someone, and that someone might be Makoto. They have the Sentry, but I don't believe Makoto had the vision.
Yeah, he's reading them. He's reading them really well.
He got the scan, so that keeps him alive.
The thing is, you don't see Nyx Assassin, you don't see that Prophet on the map. You also have a ward in your own jungle. You see that Radiant ward in the Radiant jungle, so you know they're not there, and it kind of gives away their move. But that was scary.
It was a good scam. A lot of awareness to get that.
Drew.
They've got the ward on Drew, but you need to be careful. You've got help.
Yeah. This should be instant D-ward by Cascute. Yeah, he knows. He pinged it out. He knows about this ward. Yeah, so far all T1's advances have really failed. Like, they haven't been able to make any of these plays that they've tried to do. And that Prophet right now is feeling like Karl is falling off a little bit. He's not using his ultis to pressure the lanes or take any objectives. But I think both of these teams are kind of satisfied with the stalemate.
Yeah, Karl's keeping up in net worth with the Razor, and he's working towards the Yules into Shivas. Maybe just wants to play a little bit more conservative. I know that's definitely the thoughts on Jackie, as he's still trying to farm up
the Rapier.
This favorite relic.
It's Radiance, like 99%.
Yeah.
He's just he just queued up. Rapier instead. He needs the Radiance for multiple reasons. It's not only good mischance. You're playing into a Razor, your damage will be sucked out of you, so at least you have some damage coming from that Radiance burn in team fights.
It's still funny to see the Divine Rapier in his quick buy. I'm a big fan of players who have the Divine Rapier in their TP slot, where they're just like, this is the item, and they're supports, so they're always just like...
always looking ahead, bright future.
This is who I could be.
You can see that they're fighting around this bounty rune right now. Both teams, it's a huge clash.
Yeah, Swashbuckle thinking about the Rolling Thunder again. The Pit of Malice is down. They've got the stun onto the Pangolier. Zephyr, though, needing to back off these Necro Creeps, as well as the Boars doing quite a bit of damage. They had the Hawk there for a second to try and get some vision. The Rolling Thunder hits this Death Prophet as well as Zephyr up into the air. The Plasma Field will get the kill on a Zephyr. Meanwhile, Whitemon throws down a Kinetic Field, and all they lose right now is the Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, they're just not ready to fight. Like, that position, don't get me wrong, that position is perfect for T1. And that Rolling Thunder from Pangolier would usually be punished by the Disruptor. If you're looking at Whitemon, like, he had the perfect clutch point there to use Kinetic Field into Static Storm, right? But you don't want it because your Raid King is not even 1,000 gold away from Radiance. So why not wait that at least one significant item for your side?
And with Radiance, you might have a little bit more confidence going into something like that, and even just, having the Death Prophet ready to go. But now Karl in trouble. Pit of Malice, they've got the silence with the Static Storm. It's not really doing enough to Makoto to draw him away. Swashbuckle from Hyde kills off Karl. This Death Prophet just not finding many openings.
Yeah, that Yules right there did not really do a lot, and now you can only Firestorm the tower, and that's it. Because this tier 1 should fall. Yeah, they're even zoning the Underlord. Really well played by Boom. Not messing around anymore. The moment they saw that Prophet out of position, Roar is there and they take her down.
They clear up the trees, making sure nobody from T1 can stick around, like you said, zoning them out and making sure that they're forced to give up this tier 1 tower. It's a
pl-
5k lead. It's massive already.
It's massive. It's pretty much on the back of the Troll with a very early Battle Fury. He has Yasha already completed. Straight up into the BKB. I like this a lot. There's a lot of control coming from T1. This will help him out.
Aegis into the hands of Makoto while Kezcute sacrifices himself, making sure that the focus from T1 is on the Crystal Maiden and not getting in a roach.
And look at them on Boom. They're really not messing about at all. You have Razor queuing up that BKB. Same goes with the Troll.
This game, it doesn't look like it will get much easier for T1 in the moment. They need a lot of time to have some presence.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how much Jackie will be able to do in these team fights. Like when you look at Boom, it's so simple for them.
Yeah.
Go in, roar a target, kill a target. That's it. On the side of T1, they need these prolonged engagements in which that Radiance Burn will provide more damage, and you'll have that Static Storm and whatnot, the Firestorm as well from the Underlord. But you don't want prolonged engagements against the Razor too. So there's a little bit of an outdraft at the moment, at least. It seems that way for Boom.
If T1 are able to even slightly take a fight, I think it brings them... If they could just cut into the net worth, we get a little bit more farm here on, especially the Underlord, maybe a bit of a push for the Death Prophet. Things get a little easier,
Yeah,
but
this
it's
Underlord,
tough.
man, it just feels
Doesn't
like...
have anything.
He feels like a glorified support, you know, that you've given a lot into, but look at this item build as well. He goes for 4 staff on Underlord. You have to do it, obviously. You're playing versus a Razor. It's going to help your teammates out, but you'd rather have some more impactful utility item.
I think it's worth getting Greaves if he can get there.
If he gets there, yeah, definitely.
Because he's got the Arcane Boots already, the 4 staff for a little bit of mobility. If they get some time and get the
Kezcute.
Greaves, that would be all right.
Man, Kezcute is on point when
Yeah.
it comes to breaking these smokes.
His positioning's perfect. So Cuckoo, Makoto, glimpse back. Don't touch my Underlord.
Yeah, soon he'll have that BKB. After he gets that, it's gonna be a little bit harder to stop Makoto from just running you down.
Yeah. And the good performance from Drew has really alleviated the pressure from Makoto. There's games where Drew just doesn't perform and it feels like everything's on the shoulders of Makoto, where he's forced to make these moves, going aggressive. Right now he can stay conservative, get his items, work with the Sages to get to the BKB.
Not his troll games, right?
Yeah.
His troll games were always on point, and he almost has that BKB after this Centaur camp. He's got it. I would be very surprised if they wouldn't smoke right now. There
Yeah.
you go.
They have quite the opportunity to just jump in, and I would say even with a clear victory, knock T1 out of this game. Makoto, as smoke gets broken into the Static Storm. They've got the Beastmaster there too. Wraithfire Blast, Exorcism, and they take out the first life from this Makoto Razor. They also killed off FBZ, the Rolling Thunder coming in from Hyde. Battle bounce the Death Prophet into the air, 4-staff back thanks to Cuckoo. Drew is coming around the side, Hyde in trouble, Yule's up into the air, Drew pops the BKB, goes into the battle trance, looks over at Carl, and rips apart this Death Prophet. Now we'll find a Disruptor. Double kill for Drew, BKB popped, on the run now. Rolling axes, stuns out, buyback from the Disruptor. They've got the stun into the air, Drew in trouble, doesn't have the battle trance, right click's coming in with the Radiance Burn, Kezcute goes into the ulti, Jackie, he'll have his first life popped. TP from Drew is in time. Makoto is ready to go in. He's got that static link. He's stolen 92 damage, but it's time for Cuckoo to get in the car and drive the Uber. However, okay,
Uber,
he just
0
left his
stars.
team there.
0 stars for this Uber, no tips, leaves alone. So, Boom should be actually happy by the way this fight ended, because it could have went much, much worse for them. They're ahead, don't get me wrong, they're ahead, they had the Aegis, that's all cool, but you're running uphill with a hero. First and foremost, you're running uphill without vision. Only later do they put up the ward on the cliff. Then you're running uphill with Razor first. Why not Beast first at least, so you can catch the target that's breaking that smoke?
Yeah, he blinked in and it was right into the Static Storm.
And
ended up getting him killed.
Exactly, like so many mistakes in that play. Like the smoke idea is good, you reached your timing, but you still have to be careful and disciplined about the way you execute it.
Glimpse back onto Hyde into the Pit of Malice. Hyde, he'll die to the Thunder Strike. Jackie taking a lot of damage here. And on the run, doesn't have reincarnation, so he's just dead.
Yeah, they're just so far ahead. Like, even that smoke play left them pretty much unpunished, and now that Prophet too.
Yeah, now the Primal Roar is in, Drew comes over, and Carl
Yules
trying to run, Yules up into the air, but the Boars, is it enough? They've got themselves the kinetic field as well as the glimpse on a Drew. And the BKB, if you wanted to continue to chase, blink, stun, missing both heroes.
Yeah, Drew had a kill there, by the way. He had a kill 100%. He just didn't want to pop the BKB.
Yeah,
if you
very
pop the BKB,
conservative.
yeah, if you pop the BKB, you kill the Dead Prophet for sure. But he opted not to. It's like this BKB is very important for him. Keeping it to 9 seconds, like questionable. Like I still
it's
think
worth
it would
it
be
in the
worth
end.
it. Yeah.
The thing too, we've seen a lot of these SEA teams where they don't put the ward until after they engage. Ooh, bit of Malice and the stun, Rolling Thunder coming in. Carl's by himself. Cuckoo again starts the engine, trying to drive them away.
He's trying
bring
to
a couple
catch
passengers.
Yeah, he's trying to catch everyone.
Yeah.
But Whitemon at the last moment decides, yeah, I don't want to take this bus.
Guess I'll stay.
Yeah, I guess I'll stay top lane there. I don't know if this is the TP. Yeah, they cancel too.
Yeah, give up the tower. Drew, he'll get credit for that one. By the way, it is now mech for Underlord. We'll see if he finishes it into the Guardian Greaves. Obviously, that'll take some time. Spike Carapace into the stun, but Drew, he's right here, ready to go. Fighting into this might not be the wisest thing, but it is a glimpse back into the Firestorm. FBZ with the Thunderstrike. Swashbuckle coming around, as well as Hyde, who's got the Blink Dagger now. He's silenced up, he's on the run. Whitemon with a glimpse in 5. The Pit of Malice lands, and the damage is there to take out the Pangolier. Drew might be forced to use this BKB. However, T1, they're setting up over in the trees, letting Jackie just lead for the moment.
Damn, T1 is outplaying them so hard
Pit
at
of
the
Malice
moment.
again with the kinetic field. Spirit Siphon. Carl has a double damage to work with, still has that Yules. I almost think T1 are trying to poke and prod, hoping they'll pop the BKBs and then they'll just disengage back into the base.
It's either that or wait for the Glimpse cooldown, which was coming off. So overall, they just outplayed Boom so heavily. And this is such a big strategic play for T1 because they devoured this big cliff. This is the area where Boom felt extremely safe.
Yeah.
But if you stay on the high ground, you're extremely safe. Anyone that pokes out of their base, you kill him. But you don't chase onto their own high ground. You don't try and chase into the Pit of Malice, into the 4-staff Underlord.
Now Boom Smoke again. They have this
Radiant are scanning.
Smoke to work with, Primal Roar to work with, everything ready to go. Rolling Thunder and the Blink, that's always disruptive to these fights. Cuckoo as well as Zephyr gets seen. They use the Spike Carapace, they've got the Silence on a Makoto as well as the BKB, a two-man stun onto the Crystal Maiden as well as the Troll who pops the BKB, starting to right-click away on a Carl, gets the kill onto the Death Prophet, and now looks over at Jackie who will have his reincarnation popped. The rest of the team trying to help, but they don't have Static Storm. Zephyr just standing and watching, not much he can offer. Pit of Malice as well as the kinetic field down. They've got the stun on a Drew, they get the kill on the Troll, they look over Makoto, they'll take out another. 2 heroes down on the side of Boom, and Jackie's still looking for more. Kezcute gets up the steps and away. However, on the other side of the fight, they are around Hyde, and they'll get the kill. Zephyr, he's got a double, and T1 come out ahead on that fight massively.
It's more difficult for T1 to win these fights. Like, the Dota knowledge that you need to win these fights for T1 is higher than the one that you need for Boom. Boom, it's simple. Go in, roar a target, jump with Hyde Pangolier, and just make stuff happen from then on.
Yeah.
T1, they need to kite, they need to make this troll use his BKB, use his ulti, and they really, really did that extremely well. Also, another item that's very important on Jackie, he bought this halberd. Now with the halberd, you can prolong the fights even longer. You can disarm the troll, disarm the Razor. Yeah, they're impressing me right now with the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, it didn't even look like that fight was going to go so well for T1, but like you said, they kited the Troll, they were able to move around.
Things.
Yeah.
It's the little things. All these little things just add up, and suddenly you find yourself as a Troll that has no HP and your ulti is running out. You have the mech on Underlord, you have the 4-staff on Underlord.
He's
the
about to have
Yules,
Guardian Greaves too.
Shiva's now completed on that Prophet.
Big power spike for T1 coming in, and they're only down 4k. They've played the last 5 minutes or so really well. And Cuckoo, he's come back into this game. He's found his farm. He's going into what should be the Guardian Greaves. I'm assuming he's got 2k gold. I'm expecting him to buy out, but we'll see.
They're just punishing Boom's over-aggression. but so far they have always played on their terms. Every single fight was where T1 wanted it. Can they reach this Roshan?
No, they're not going to be quick enough. Ooh, couple dashes. That delays it for a second.
Will they still try and fight it? No. Yeah,
It's
cool.
tough.
Yeah,
If they were to come up those stairs, I think it would be dangerous for Boom. Because obviously they have that second life, but moving in again with
two
no
lives,
vision.
right? You have cheese on Razor now as well.
Yeah,
and this
well, that's
is
if he gets it off. I've
Yeah.
seen a couple heroes, they're holding the cheese, they forget to press it, and chat goes wild.
yeah, passive cheese,
Yeah.
passive bees. So right now, Boom obviously has a strong advantage because these prolonged fights can still go their way as they have two lives on two heroes. You have the cheese on Razor and the Aegis on Troll Warlord. Still though, I would love them to make T1 fight on their terms, not go into the high ground of T1 around the triangle.
Interestingly enough, T1, they're the ones who are smoked up. Blink as well as the stun that comes out of Kezcute. They've also got the glimpse back over onto this Pangolier. They'll throw him into the static storm. They've got the silence and the kinetic field around him. One right click from Jackie gets the kill, but coming over is this Razor. Drew, he's got that second life to work with. He's slowed down Cuckoo as well as Whitemon. The Primal Roar is used on the Underworld. The right click's coming in, but he gets the mech off. It's not going to be enough. They're chasing Jackie. They've got the first life out of his hands, but the BKBs have been used by Boom. So are they able to make something of this on the side of T1 as they'll lose Zephyr as well? They've got the kinetic field down. Makoto in a lot of trouble. They've got the silence. He eats the cheese. So he does take advantage of the cheese. However, still getting chased with the exorcism on him. They'll look over. They've disarmed Drew. Drew continuing to chase. They'll take out Makoto. It is enough. Jackie on the run. Hit with the bullwhip. Running away and just in time with the blink to get out of the hands of Drew. Makoto and Kezcute fall. Jackie survives. Reincarnation was on cooldown for another 15 seconds. And they were almost on top of him enough to take out the Wraith King.
Man, T1 teamfight execution is
Very impressive right now.
very impressive. Not only that, but the fact that they smoke up instantly into the Aegis and Cheese. So why do they do this? Usually a team that gets the Aegis and Cheese usually think that they have a little bit of a leeway there. You know, we just took Aegis, we just took Cheese. Let's take over the map a little bit. Let's be a little bit greedier. The enemy team isn't going to try to do any plays. But T1 do exactly that. They make a play, they kill off that Pango first, then Underlord, yeah, he does fall. But most importantly, Wraith King, after being killed first, he blinks out. And they can't chase him because that Prophet is there with Shivas and ulti running.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
I think T1, even though they're not with the Aegis or the cheese, they still felt that power spike.
Yeah.
I mean, that's confidence. Not a lot of teams are willing to do that.
FBZ all into that 1-2 execution of heroes. Blink, BKB, Necro Tree. No utility coming from him besides the Inner Beast. That's it. A little bit of auras coming from Necros, obviously, but falling off a little bit.
Cuckoo's gone the route of the Lotus Orb instead of finishing off the Guardian Greaves. We'll see if the Guardian Greaves comes after, but I like the Lotus Orb pickup. I'm fine with that.
It's one of the best items versus Razor and Beastmaster.
All right.
You want to pop it on that Wraith King, he can't get the chain on with the Razor, right? Like you can't static link him. And also Roar is way more difficult to use.
Middle tower is under attack.
Double damage sitting top. Picked up by Drew. Dangerous.
What's happening on Boom's side besides Beast? We have
Ooh, Glimpse. Drew not able to join this, and I just
mana burn.
not allowed to have mana.
He does have a Crystal Maiden. That will give him some. There's actually a Mage Slayer from Mikoto right here. Alright, 35% less spell damage. This is something that I've heard players discuss versus Dead Prophet as well. It is spell damage after all, right? So it doesn't matter if it's physical or not. It still should reduce the damage output.
And we haven't seen many Mage Slayers in the game so far.
Yeah, especially in SEA and China, right, region.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen one.
Maybe one or two, but like they were close to a finish on a game or something like that where it didn't really make much of a difference. Here it feels like we're in the midst of a game where this could be a big difference maker.
They're bailing. They're all TPing out.
Yeah,
they don't want to take this fight.
Really good job knowing that that's coming. Again, that's the map awareness that had impressed me earlier in this game from Boom too.
It's not, yeah, like they get surprised a couple of times, and I believe that the plays that they have made, their map awareness was solid. They knew where the enemy team is. They just the decision making to go there with smoke onto the high ground without vision is what bothered me. But they have a firm grasp on the game where everyone is.
So Cuckoo dismantles the Arcane Boots, finishes off the Lotus Orb. You've got Jackie leading the way now at level 20, still working on that AC. He's picked up the Hyperstone.
Age is just reclaimed too.
So now T1, if they've got the timing, they can definitely feel confident going in onto Boom. But Boom, thinking about going through with this. Rolling Thunder onto the back lines. That hits Cuckoo up into the air. Force Staff onto the high ground. Makoto giving chase. However, now they'll wait and they can glimpse him back. Not in the best position.
Yeah, a little bit of a short glimpse. I think he could have maybe waited a little bit longer.
And then had him closer to the steps, yeah.
Yeah, then have him a little bit closer to his team and also maybe even force him to pop that BKB.
Vlad's being built for FBZ.
No. First utility item that actually helps the Troll and the Razor, and it's a big one. I'm surprised they didn't get the Vlads earlier. That's one thing that I expected from Pango or from FBZ. Pango, obviously, this build is really good. The Blink and the Orb of Corrosion.
Blink, Orb of Corrosion going duels next. Meanwhile, Abyssal being built for the Troll of Drew. And then Satanic. Ooh, okay. Death Prophet had queued. Carl had the Aeon disc queued. Now changes it over to the Heart.
Okay. Some more sustainability in team fights. So he's moving away from being worried about being blown up.
Right.
And just being worried about living long enough in fights. It's an interesting choice, though. Very interesting choice. He understands that he's not the... Don't get me wrong, he does deal a lot of damage in these team fights, but his main objective is to create as much chaos as possible. The damage coming from Firestorm, the damage coming from Wraith King is really important. And they need to survive, so someone needs to go in first.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Smoked up, coming back towards their triangle. They're aware of T1's positioning at the moment. They got the scan, so they know somebody's around. Makoto coming with the spider leg. Smoke. Not broken just yet, but they know he's there. Plasma field used. T1 still sitting, still waiting.
Prophet ult.
And now they've got the Exorcism as well as the Sheep as the BKB, as well as the Primal Roar that comes out into Carl, taking a lot of damage very quickly. He's going to be killed off immediately. Now they look over at Jackie. They popped his first life. They'll find Cuckoo, who's trying to get a Dark Rift away. He should be able to do so. Can he get Jackie with him? 5 stars.
I wouldn't rate that Uber 5 stars, man. Maybe 5 stars later on, but what happened before was, like that Lotus Orb had to be on the Dead Prophet immediately.
Yeah, it was a little late.
Yeah, it was so late. It was after Roar. I wouldn't be surprised if Dead Prophet just... he's gonna be like, screw you guys, I'm buying A on this guy. I can't rely on this. I need it.
Oh, they're still going. Look at this. Boom, coming over. Zephyr spotted. Well done by him. Spike Carapace, Force Staff, blink away with the Vendetta. I like that from Zephyr. All cheeky play to get out when Boom seemed to have their hands around his exoskeleton.
Yeah, the thing is, Boom, right now, they don't even care about the buyback on that Prophet. Even if she does buyback, there's no exorcism. They use the top.
Jackie leading. Dangerous to lead. Primal Roar is available. Defending this tier 2 doesn't work out. They'll lose it. Double siege creeps here. AC picked up for Jackie. And
rush response. That's the most important thing. Like, you take the outpost. However, T1
stun out on a Kezku. TP is coming in. Rolling Thunder with the blink. High disrupting this fight already. It allows the Crystal Maiden to get out. A little dust think, and then the Nyx Assassin's coming over. The Aegis is picked up by Drew. You've got the Refresher as well as the Cheese picked up by Makoto.
Yeah, that's really nice on him.
Ooh, double damage for Jackie. I won't fight into this, though.
Yes, you don't.
That's rough. This one's a lot rougher to fight into.
Actually, they gave the Refresher Shard to Troll. I don't mind that at all. I was just thinking, okay, Razor, double ultis and whatnot could be fancy in the next couple of fights, but Also, Troll, he has that Aegis. He can pop BKB, ulti, refresher, then use everything again. That's probably more worth it. Because the only way you'll lose these fights is if T1 prolongs them and kites them long enough for Troll to use his BKB, use his ulti, and then just die twice.
He's also hit that level 25, yet to take a talent though.
Not trying to decide. Strong Dispel, pretty good right there. When do you need it though? In a game such as this one, probably Trance Duration is more solid. We'll see.
I think the duration is probably fine. 8.5 seconds.
Yeah,
and there it
that's not broken at all, man. Unkillable for forever. He also hit a huge